Hi everyone, this is Margaret Manning with 60andMe. When my children were young, we used to read Dr. Seuss books all the time. And we used to just get into hysterics, with the crazy imaginary characters and places and people he would create. And, I just remember us making up our own wacky stories, that were just pure fantasy. And just remembering how amazing that time was. And, children have this openness to fantasy and magic. And they're just, always, curious and looking for something unusual in a story. And I think as we get older, we somehow forget that nonsense and silliness is an important part of our lives, and we just get so serious, and we have a lot to think about. We worry about the future, we regret about the past, and we just don't take that moment to escape into sort of our crazy fantasy world, to just be able to stay right there in the present. We've had this conversation with 60andMe community before, and a lot of women came back with local groups that they formed, meetups where they just, I think there's one group called the Recycled Teenagers, where they just get together on a weekend and just do something silly and maybe go to the movies in your pajamas, or, I don't know, just do something that gets you out of your grown-up mind and into a little bit of an adventurous world where the unknown and mysterious can happen. So I think that, one of the gifts that we have as older women is that we don't have to be quite as, restrictive when we're older. People don't mind too much what we do. And we probably, if you're like me, don't really care too much about what people think of me. Long ago, I, used to think that people actually were paying attention to what I was doing and cared. Public I'm talking about. But, in reality, everyone's doing their own thing and not paying much attention to anyone else anyway. You're just kind of part of their movie. So, anyway, I think as you get older, you can relax a little bit and just let that silly side of you out. Also, I think it's fun to think like a child sometimes, because you just become young-minded. You just have a curiosity, and you tend to ask questions like why and where and how. And those lead you to just great realizations sometimes. And also, I think it's great to be around young people too, to remind you that there's a lesson that we can share with them, that we've got life experience, but that we've also got something to learn from them and from their just pure utter magic and mystery about the world. So, I love the words of Dr. Seuss, and they're in the quote below, which is, I like nonsense. It wakes up the brain cells. Fantasy is a real important ingredient in living. And I think it's really important that we do occasionally let ourselves go and be children again. What do you think? What are you going to do to go back to your childhood and remember one or two things that you did that you haven't done in tens of years? Did you like to go swing on the swings at the park? Did you do cartwheels and handstands? Did you wear different colored shoes? Did you pull your hair up in pigtails? What did you do that was, something you remember from your childhood that you think, you could do today and get a bit of a laugh from? So that's my question for you. What did you do as a child that made you feel free and, creative and full of wonder? And why aren't you doing it today? I'd love to read your comments and join in the conversation. Thanks, everyone.